What up, what's going on, y'all? Welcome into another episode of the Rabbit Hole Sessions. What's poppin'? Tyler on demand with my solo cam today.
Nice.
That was a surprise decision, but I kind of like it. How am I looking? Hair looking good? Skin looking good? I think so. My skin regimen's been going up. I'm on that African black soap based.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. Although, never mind. We'll go back to it later. Maybe I'll tell you guys later.
You buying those local? Are those local? Are you like...
Fucking CVS or Target? Yeah. But they got that. It's what's it called? Shea something. Shea Moisture.
Butter?
I think is
Shea butter?
Shea. No. I'm saying like the company name is Shea something. See, because the thing is, I was at first about to take skincare from like skincare tips from a white girl, right? But then I was like, we don't really have the same skin.
Nope.
So let me do everything she said, but go African black soap based. So
that's why I was asking
that's
if you're buying local, like from a black-owned business or something.
No, I should. Oops, did I just expose myself? Yeah, no, but maybe I will next time. Any West African soap stores, hit me up. I'm trying to find that shit. It's not the same as the stuff they used to get from Nigeria that my grandma used to give me. Shout out to my grandma, but that's like the river soap that's supposed to be like the blessings from the ancestors, and you're not supposed to wash it off after you shower. So you're basically just pouring like, dirty leaves on yourself, and then you're supposed to go to bed smelling like it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's not my favorite time. Okay, do we need to pause? What's going on,
apart, bro.
Yeah, it's all falling
Do we need a
apart.
re-intro?
No, I mean, it was just you talking.
I think
Okay.
that intro was fine. We can just start talking.
Okay.
All right, I'm just going to...
Yeah, so anyway, Tyler on demand. Emilio Guido's here. What's up, brother? How
What's
are you?
up? I'm good.
Looking calm, looking comfortable in the
Thank
white
you.
tee with the chain. It's a good contrast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Young Jimmy McMoney, Mr.
I'm
Valdez,
here.
how are you, sir?
Doing all right.
Good to see you.
surviving.
Hair going crazy in the wind. We are
Yeah.
outside. It's
Your
pretty
hair's
windy
long,
today.
man. I like
yeah.
it.
It's growing out. I
letting
like
grow.
it.
I got this... I'm also on a new hair care routine.
A new
I
what?
got a hair care routine.
Oh, look at us.
Yeah, I'm going
divulging tips.
super curly. I'm letting
Yeah.
them grow out, trying to see what it looks like whenever I go extra curly.
Get them locks. Yo, that's why we got them on cam now. That's why we got all that new fashion stuff. Shout out to the YouTube if you are watching, because we do got this video. Yesterday I was trying to do more of the like compilation stuff and was working on some more stuff to fill out the YouTube with. So y'all can definitely stay tuned for that. The hardest part is honestly finding pictures for each clip. Like I just have to find them from the most random sources, and I'd love to know where all these other rappers get their cover photos and stuff
Yeah.
from. 'Cause
What
I
if you
think
just use
about
like a
ours.
ridiculous one?
Huh?
What if you just use a ridiculous frame from the video, like where you're like cut?
Yeah, no, I've definitely done that a couple times, but it's also like, I don't have any pictures of you guys, so it's either ones I'm always in or, like the only picture I have of James is the one where I'm trying to help him up on that brick thing.
I haven't even seen that. Which one's that one?
When we were
That
at
was you, at
Miller
Suffolk,
Place
by
near
Suffolk. Yeah.
and we were messing around, like this.
Oh
this is your
yeah,
story,
yeah. Okay, I know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
I was capturing video and pictures.
Yeah.
Sweet, nice.
Well, James, you do photos for rappers. Like, do you just have random ones that they ask you for that they end up using for their covers and shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, remember when we went to Delaware? I took like a shit ton of photos. I uploaded them all into that Google Drive. There was like 500 images.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them have been grabbed by like Kazi. Or
Right.
Tim or any
But
of
they're
them.
there.
They're
oh
there.
God, yeah, like
They're all
some
there.
of the flower ones.
Oh, I also just got this USB drive from my phone, so I got all these iPhone photos I gotta put onto the drive too.
Oh, good shit. So we got more content
Yeah,
coming.
more
in.
content.
I think about the Bobby Ray cover because that picture is that was from the beginning of COVID. Y'all remember she took that picture of me? That was like all the way back in the beginning of COVID. There's just a random one like in this spot by my house. And it's just that ended up becoming my smash single. You know what we do. It's the only smash. But that's a different story.
We getting into that?
That's a different. I mean, we
He's a
don't need to.
poet.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we don't need to. We
Beautiful.
don't need to. Who knows? I might even get clipped out. But we're here. We've been kicking for a while, man. I don't even know. Like, should we start with what we were just talking about, or would you like to dive into some of the other interesting things we came across this week? Anything off the top of y'all's head?
Just trying to continue creating, even if we just shot something or we're still filming something, we're still trying to start another project and take the lessons we just learned while we're still learning them and apply them to a new, fresh product.
Got to keep it flowing. Yeah. Something my professor told me in class today was like, sometimes you got to you got to stop thinking about the limitations on the things that you're doing right now, right? So like in your production, when you were trying to find casting for extras and stuff, right? If you focus too much on that, you kind of lose sight of the overall goal, and it just muddies your mind with these doubts on it, right? So it's like every now and then you got to change your perspective on your own stuff.
Change it to what? What do you mean?
Just try to look at it from a different way. Like even looking at it from like, Let's try to think about what I'm trying to say real quick.
Well, because you said not to get focused on a specific aspect because
Yeah.
you might lose the grander picture. Is
Exactly.
that- so
Yeah,
what do you?
yeah.
So when you're saying switch, are you saying switch between the individual things you focus on, or switch from
Like
zooming
switch
in
from
and zooming out?
a perspective of a director, switch to maybe a casting agent, switch to maybe a cinematographer, you
Right.
know, in these different areas, because it's such a big field that there's like lots of disciplines within it
Yeah.
that you kind of got to understand, and they each give their own different perspectives and insights, you know. So in this case, like maybe even seeing it from an actor and seeing like what would pull this actor to my project during this time,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Does that apply to time as well, in the sense of not limiting yourself to the present moment of the project and also considering all of it, or is
Yeah,
it
definitely.
staying in the present moment of it?
No, because I think that's switching into like a producer mindset, like trying to see the time frame of the project. Yeah, the pragmatic parts of it.
Gotcha, because that you have to involve the whole timeline then, yeah, because you are producing it.
Yeah.
Can you hold it a little back from your mouth? I think it's a little too close for the cam. Yeah, yeah. And it just looks funny from this angle too. Looks like you're eating the mic. But
That's how
and
the first video looked.
Huh?
That's how the first video that we took.
Yeah, he loves the microphone.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's good. He's
Wow.
good
I
on
have
it.
to- I have to
He's
hold
good
it,
on the
bro.
mic.
You
I
have
just
to
think it's a
hold
little close. I just think it's a little close, but you're fine. You're fine now. Yeah. So we were just talking about the film thing because there was something we were just speaking about. I don't know how you got into something about perspective of a voyeuristic character, and maybe
Oh.
we can rehash that. But
So I was just talking about the first film that we made, Echoes of What Used to Be, and how it's a cyclical film, and how the character doesn't really learn anything from his journey because he starts where he ends where he began. And when I showed it to the class, one of the audience members said, he made the point that though the character doesn't learn, the viewer of the film learns from their experience and takes that with them in their own life. And I had never thought of that perspective because I have a hard time separating myself from the character because I'm trying to get into the character. And what's nice about the audience is they don't have to be that invested.
oh yeah, they get to see the fruits of the investment.
Yeah.
Like they get
Yep.
to see what it turns out.
True.
Yeah.
And that's where I think I was just saying off mic that that's where the viewer becomes the voyeur, or the voyeuristic perspective
Yeah.
becomes the viewer, because now you get to, like you said, just watch, analyze. You don't interact. You just see what this person does within their life in the world of the film, and you get to take what you want from it. And that kind of relates to, and we can dive into it more in a second, but the Jimi Hendrix article you sent me about how he was very inspired by science fiction and stuff, right? And framed some of his songs from the perspective of like an alien, or from like someone who used to live on Earth and is coming back. And it just makes me always think about, you know, how storytelling is kind of like the basic form of truth that we communicate, right? Like more often than not, we take things from the moral of a story, right, or from a character of a story, rather than it actually just happening. And it's almost like you have to take this voyeuristic perspective to be able to learn anything, right? Because it's almost like if you only focus on yourself, then it's too limited. Like you're too within yourself. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. So when you read the Jimi Hendrix article, what was it about it that had made it stick out to you?
Well, I just wanted to. I'm honestly really, ever since getting the record for his first album, just like Are You Experienced, that's what it was called.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to know more about him because he's a very. The songs I like on that are one, it's called May This Be Love, and then the second one is Third Rock from the Sun, and both of them are very like earthy and spiritual. And like he makes the guitar, like the first one, like he's talking about waterfalls and like don't ever change your ways, and like returning to this waterfall and things like that. And he makes the guitar sound like water dripping and things like that, and so he's able to like make these really earthy. And then his next album was Axis, Bold as Love, and there are some songs on there that are so like he was so in tune, like he was a very unique artist in that he was so in tune with nature and writing about nature, like actually like the earth, and talking about being in tune with the earth, and even making the music sound like that, whether it's the drums or it's the guitar. And so it's just sad that he died and didn't get the chance to really fully explore, like, because it would have been a really,
Yeah, where would he have
like,
gone?
it would just been so unique.
Especially as
Just the
science
timeline of
fiction
music.
also developed more
Yeah,
around him, and
yeah,
it's like that's his main
yeah.
source of inspiration. It's really cool to see when like artists find inspiration through other mediums, right? Like other things frame their kind of speaking specifically of musicians, like their musical perspective. For me, a lot of the times I think of like when I position the character or the protagonist of a song, a lot of times there's thoughts of like manga characters, right, or comic book characters, or so a lot of my inspiration comes from those realms and those stories that are told, and then trying to like fuse it into rap. And that's also something that just in rap in general is pretty cool, like the blend between like Japanese anime culture and hip hop, like how there's kind of such a trade-off there. And that's always something I've wanted to explore more. One day maybe I'll write a master's paper or something on it. But that's like, do you guys find inspiration for film through other mediums? Because I know, Emilio, a lot of the time you talk about inspiration within watching other films, like within the film medium. But do you guys find it anywhere else from other fields?
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely. Because I feel like as artists, we're only telling the truths how we see them, right? Like our own truth, right? And when we digest these media, it's these artists giving us their truth. And when we interpret it, we twist it around and then put it into our own lives and see it our own way. So it's like it's constantly evolving. If you're taking the perspectives of all these people, you're just putting out something new that's involving all of those perspectives.
And you are like adding your part into it, which
Exactly.
makes it like a grander thing. It's less
Yeah.
of something that exists on its own, but exists because of everything that's being added into it that's valuable.
You know what I kind of related to?
What's that?
Majin Buu from Dragon Ball Z. He would
There we
absorb
go. Look,
people.
other mediums inspiring the.
He would absorb people, and then the power would be multiplied within him, not just added. You know, and he'd become a new thing while involving them. That's how I see ingesting media and creating your own media based on that.
Nice rap. I like.
Yeah, that was good, yeah.
Reminding me of what the
Tied it
point
all
was.
up.
Thank you. Because you're the first thing I thought of, and it's funny how this episode, or we've kind of spoken about it throughout, whether it's been recorded or not, is echoes of what used to be, and that was inspired by a song, "Nights in White Satin," and it kind of similarly followed, because the lyrics are. Nights in white satin, never reaching an end. I can't even remember the rest of the lyrics, but it's about writing these letters and never getting to send, and that's what the theme was of the film until he went to go try and deliver, and then who knows what happened after that.
Do you often? Because I remember even back in the Age of Information days, like a
Yeah,
lot of
that's
designs
right.
were inspired by lyrics and stuff. So
That's
does
true.
that happen a lot in your films?
I think so. Yes. Yeah, because also even in the scripts, they include music. I also like to write with music in mind, like when Max Met Lorelei, when that comes out, that's a lot of Nirvana, a lot of 60s rock and roll, freedom rock, and encourage
Nice.
that film.
Yeah.
I remember talking to you about that, like when we first met in Curry, like right next to like U Burger.
Yeah,
We were
yeah.
talking about the
Burger.
film.
Classic.
Yeah.
And you mentioned all these songs, and I had never listened to them, but I went back and I did listen to them, and I saw exactly what you were talking about. After that, I could kind of get a better idea of what you wanted, and then it helped me as an actor emulate the themes that you wanted in your film.
It's like what you're saying, bringing the multiple things together enriches the totality, you know? Were you about to say something?
No, so yeah, I remember that. I remember
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about music and then getting into the film.
Yeah, I think it's important. I wish. What's interesting is, and I think this is something that I need to get comfortable with as I become direct more and more, is I miss small sets. I miss when it's just like us two, us three, or whatever it is. And I think what's interesting is, and what I've learned also about like filmmakers in the 70s, is that a lot of them made movies with their friends, and that allowed comfortability, and they knew each other, whether it was emotionally or not, and things like that. And like, because we used to play music on the set. Like, I would play the music that was going to be in the film, and I told you to bring the speaker, and I didn't play the music, and part of it is because I don't even feel comfortable, because I've played music out loud before, even just from my phone, and like people are quick with comments, and it doesn't even matter. It shouldn't matter, because it's not
Yeah.
for
What?
them. If it's not for them,
Right.
it's for the film. It's for me. It's like, and that's
It's
fine.
for the world. Like,
Yeah.
it's feeding into
They should be more
everything that's
inspired.
going
That's
on.
kind of a closed-minded thing to
So
say.
I
like,
think,
It's
I guess it
just
depends on who
classic
you work with.
hooliganry.
Yeah, but
You got to handpick. Well, that's what you're saying. Like, that's why you like to work with the people that are like-minded and can choose. And even you said people that were making films together. Right now, people that are in LA, like this whole podcast circuit of people that are friends and support each other. Rappers that are friends when they make music, it's dope. Like they make the best shit.
I
It's
read
all about
this-
picking your circle.
oh yeah. So sorry.
No, I'm done.
I read this article that was talking about the efficiency of teams and whether they're important, right? And so they analyzed whether surgeons in one hospital were better in other hospitals, just like in generally, like if it was just their skill getting them there. But what they found was that the failure rate at their first year in each of those hospitals was the exact same. So they didn't grow after they went into each hospital. When they grew was after 5 years working with the same team in that doing surgeries.
Yeah.
So it just showed that, like, in any profession, if you're working with a team for long enough, you understand how to work with them better, and it just makes you a better creator. You know?
Take it to basketball. I mean, the Lakers just won the chip, but the Heat, like Jimmy Butler, when he went there, like there was a couple spots he went, and it's like their teams kept losing. People were doubting him. Like, is he that good? You go to the Heat, you're around the right people, give him the time, and it's like they went to the finals. Like nobody expected that.
Tyler Hero's going to be like next year.
Dude,
Nutty.
him and Duncan Robinson
Nutty.
and Bam.
Do you think any of them are going to leave?
I'm curious.
Nah, like,
I don't think
leave?
so.
Like after this year?
If anything, they're going to try
Is
to
that
get
possible?
people.
Aren't they
Yeah,
rookies?
I think some of them can.
Not the rookies.
Not the rookie.
Isn't Tyler Hero a rookie?
Like
Yeah, he's a roo- I'm saying- I'm
Iguodala,
talking
Iguodala,
Isn't Bam a
Jay
rookie?
Crowder, maybe. I don't
Teams just
know.
change every year, so I'm sure some of them aren't going to be the same.
Well, they need to get rid of Iguodala. Like that was a big reason I think why they lost. Honestly,
Jay Crowder was pretty consistent.
he was
was,
good.
yeah.
No, he was
Yeah.
good.
He
It's
was,
just
yeah.
Iggy's old, dude. He's
is
he's
old.
too old.
Yeah, I think
it's
the
not the
bubble was
days
weird
of
for him.
the
Yeah,
Finals
it was
MVP.
weird, yeah.
It was, dude. I was watching like the best of LeBron throughout the Finals series, and it's like every play was him getting an and one on Iguodala. I'm just like, why is he still? And every play, Iguodala's throwing up his hands like every time. And I'm
Dude,
like,
I
bro.
hate that that's the first thing they
Bro.
do. You know what I also
Some
hate
people
is
also
when,
just look really
when
annoying when they
people
do it.
fall
He's
on
one
the
of them.
ground, and I almost said a character, but when a basketball
They
player
acting like
gets hit
characters.
and falls on the ground, and if he stays there longer than 5 seconds and holds his face, they're looking at the play for a flagrant. They stop
Yeah.
the game to look at it for a
Yeah.
flagrant.
They're also just
It's a
getting a breath.
tactic.
They're
Yeah.
just sitting on the
I-
floor
I'm
trying
with
to
it for
I'll
the
see
breath,
people
but
go
now
pick
it's
him
like
up,
they
they're
take
like-
it too close.
Like,
Yeah, if it's for the breath, I'm with it because I'm like, yeah, that's good, like a little tactics to give your team a rest. But it's like you said, when they take it to the flagrant, it's like, all right, fuck this.
yeah.
You know what
but
I
they
think
always
about
do it.
bullshit.
Iguodala, why he kept getting stomped on?
Why?
Was because he's been in the past, 5 finals now?
Oh, that's
so
right.
he's been playing
played
against
burnt
LeBron.
out, dude.
LeBron, but he's like, wait, is he older than LeBron? He must be.
I think so. No,
Yeah.
I think maybe actually, yeah. I
But
think
he's
so.
met
We
with
can check.
LeBron several times in the finals before now. And so I'm sure LeBron just figured him out. And he
Dude,
just knows
also
how to,
the year that he won Finals MVP for literally only guarding LeBron, like that's the only reason he won it. LeBron still scored like 30 a game that series. You know
And
what I'm saying?
they considered giving the trophy to the MVP of the finals to LeBron too. I remember it was either
Oh, that year?
Iguodala or
that's
LeBron.
funny.
That
was
who they
that
were-
because was that the one where it
LeBron
was just
lost.
him? It was like him and
so it only
Dellavedova?
happened because
Yeah.
LeBron lost then.
God,
That's
Dellavedova.
crazy.
Is he still
Yeah.
in the, oh, he's on the Bucks or was he?
Really?
I don't know. He was for a little while.
Who?
I thought Dellavedova.
Hold on,
Oh.
I'm trying to see how old
I thought he was.
Iguodala is. How old is Andre Iguodala? He is.
It feels yeah. I'm so glad
Come
the
on,
Lakers
bro.
won, and I think I saw
36.
something that.
I think they're the same age.
Oh, then I think
Aren't they the same
LeBron
age then?
James is what 38 or something, turning 38,
Wait.
I think.
He's
LeBron
turning
age.
up there, yeah. I think 38
But
or 36.
Anthony
38 's
Davis,
too
I
high.
heard that he's gonna.
He's 35. So they're basically
35?
the
Oh,
same
okay.
age, yeah.
Anthony Davis is gonna resign, I think, with the Lakers.
Oh,
I
he already
heard.
agreed,
Yeah.
Yeah, bro, he better. Where
Yeah,
he gonna
why would
go?
he leave now?
Where
He's-
he gonna go?
He's in
Yeah.
a place where he's
And
succeeding.
I wonder who. I think at the beginning of the season, the Lakers also had Boogie Cousins on their team.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah.
Is he not still on the team?
No,
They
I thought he
traded
got
him
a
out.
chip.
no, he just. I don't know if he did because he wasn't. He got injured. He got injured early on.
I do remember when
And then
they
he wasn't
signed him.
part of the team. He didn't go to the bubble and stuff like that. So I
Yeah,
don't know.
like
if
I
Oh, that
said,
was
he
so
did.
long ago now.
That's what I'm saying.
That was, I think that was like the first year of the
But he was a
Lakers,
one-year
and then they
sign-on.
just signed him. So I guess he didn't get. Damn, poor
Yeah.
DeMarcus. He could have got his chip. Dwight Howard got his chip.
It's cool though.
JaVale
Rondo
McGee.
got,
Oh, he already got one.
a chip with the Celtics and the Lakers.
Yes, dude. He's the only player in history to do
Yeah,
that, which
that's
is
cool.
nuts.
That's pretty
It's-
impressive.
There are
That's
quite
really
a few people
cool.
on that team who have a championship from different teams.
Yeah,
which
Danny
goes to show
Green.
like how different the leagues are now in say like the 90s
Because
and
everybody's
80s.
moving around. Yeah,
Yeah,
as
so much
opposed to.
We
movement.
might have
Yeah.
to redo the cameras because the
Oh,
sun just
we'll
went down.
stop soon.
Yeah, we can. Do we want to pause and redo them right now, or
Let's pause. real quick.
pause? Yeah,
Hi.
We already paused.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you bad now, girl. Oh, yeah, you bad now, girl. Shit. Oh, bad now. Yeah. No, I don't wanna know if you gon' lie to me and walk off on your own. I got no time to sleep. You said you were sure that you were tired of me. All my misery. That shit is history. Keep it clean like Listerine. You can't confide in me just cause you're missing me. You cannot come by, I'm on a mission, please. Early morning, I getting up. Ain't no letting up, you brown eyed girl. Miss your touch and your brown style curls. Yeah. But you brown eyed girl. I'm not your pawn in your brown eyed world. Oh,
grinding every day, grinding every night. If I see Emilio before I die, then nigga, that's alright. All these fucked up bad bitches, but they bitches and they all like. I don't want no love, it's no good for me, baby. Can we just vibe? Can we just ride? Move through the city, I'm a ghost in the night. She want a nigga cause I'm sexy and fine. And the nigga slick talk and he rhyme. And beat the pussy up, that shit committing crimes. Yeah, and beat that pussy up, that shit committing crimes. Brown skin girl, you been running through my mind. Glad I found you, girl. Now we leaving this behind. All the loud in the world and the breezy leaves combined. Couldn't take you out my man, at least it's easier with time. Cause I swear I shine better when I ain't with you. But I still can't help feeling like I'm gonna miss it. Anytime I see a picture or I even get a whiff of your perfume, those fumes put me in a twisted damn.
So let's go back to James. You said something earlier about bringing pieces together and adding them on, and that making the whole greater because like the parts are so much better. And something kind of related to that, it made me think about a thought I've had before of like, and it's kind of veering off a little bit, but is there any part of us that is unique to us as individuals? Like, at first I would say, for example, our perspective or like our view or our lens. But what is that? That's something that's shaped by people who raised you, what you grew up by, right? All that shit. So it's not exactly you. And so my thought usually goes to, well, it's not one thing that's actually you. It's the amalgamation, right? It's what you've chosen to mix and match that is uniquely you, not the things that are actually mixed and matched. Do you have any thought on that?
I think if we disregard external things, right? Let's go straight into you personally. You have a mind that you could listen to. Like you have an internal voice that you could actually listen to. You have your own senses. You have your sense of hearing, your sense of sight, your sense of smell, taste, touch.
There you go.
Right? You didn't think I knew them all, huh?
You put more space in between them. I was like, is he going to get it? Or is he going to stop?
All of that is are receptors that we have ourselves that we can receive information from the world. So in a way, all of that creates a perspective that is unique to ourselves, I think, because no one else is experiencing the things I'm experiencing, and no one else can make the decision on how to interpret those things except me. We can see, hear, taste, everything. It's the interpretation, and people are like, well, like it kind of goes into like.
Well, that would be the perspective thing that I was talking about, though. But I don't know if your perspective is you.
Oh, because it's a combination of everything.
Because your perspective is kind of formed by just like, your external influences.
Yeah, but it's all those inputs are a unique combination to you.
So it is the combination, like you're saying.
It is the combination.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we're saying the same.
So are you
thing.
asking if I have like something specific to myself that's
or just
deciding
what you
all
thought,
of
if
that?
there was
like,
one thing that was like what made someone uniquely them, like if it was something like perspective or the soul, whatever you want to say, or if you thought it was a combination of things. And it seems like you think it's a combination.
Well, that's interesting because like sometimes I'll pose the hypothetical question like, if one person were to experience everything that you were experiencing, everything from like your birth and to now, it's just the exact same, would they make the exact same decisions?
Right. I'd love to know.
And I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know if they would.
Can you ever... Damn, that would be quite the experiment. Could you ever set that like control group up experiment to make that happen?
They do studies where they follow people for years and years and years, but I'm sure it treads some line of there being some unethical issue.
Yeah.
Or it's
What about like orphanages? Like
Those are
orphans
close,
who were there
but-
from when they were born. Okay, yeah. So I was like orphans that grew up, like that just grew up in the orphanage from birth. Say they're the same race, same everything, right? Like so, there's no like you balance out all of these possible biases or whatever, so they all get the same shit. There must be a pair of orphans that's happened. And
I don't know because the smallest thing can change. Like if you're treated a different way, if you're told a different thing,
Yeah,
it
if
has to be
you-
exactly the
right,
exact
like if
thing.
you go to the bathroom and sometimes someone else doesn't, and
Yeah.
they get yelled at or some shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Small things,
Okay. Damn, are orphanages as bad as like they say, like some of the rumors say?
Probably, but they
I
probably
don't
don't
know
get
shit
enough
about
funding,
I don't know. Wait, let's hold on a sec, because that wind just really fucking spiked my mic.
Yeah, back onto the topic. I think I like to think that we all have something inherent in us that is different, that we can each make a decision. Because like I kind of feel it every now and then, like just an instinct or like my gut feeling, you know. And I feel like that, at least I like to think it is unique to myself. And maybe I'll make the same decision as someone else, but in some cases I won't. And it's on me to decide that. So I don't know. I like to think I have free will.
What do you
It's
think?
more optimistic.
I
Yeah.
think I'm different. I mean, like, I think it doesn't always feel good, like earlier on in your life, to be different or be told you're different. But it feels better as you get older. And yeah, I definitely think I feel.
Go on that a
I
little
think
more.
I think different. What?
Go on that a little more. What do you mean it feels better when you're older? Like that you're different?
Well, I think as you get out into the world, it feels better to be more unique, or to have different things that you like in comparison to others, or your decision-making process is different than others.
And that's not even like some grandstand, like I'm better than you type of thing. It's literally just, I know I think about things and it makes me form my own thoughts and opinions about them. And it usually gives you a stronger foundation to go out into the world with. Like if you're just fed your thoughts, right, and you just regurgitate what's fed to you, if you're ever put in a position when you're on your own, you're going to struggle, probably flounder a little bit because you don't know what to do. You don't know how to adapt.
Yeah, as the youngest in my household, I always felt like, for the most part, I was doing what other people said, you know? And then when my brothers finally moved out to college, I could recognize, like, okay, this year I'm really all on my own. You know, besides my parents, who I've, like, have a good enough relationship where they trust me to make my own decisions, my senior year was all me just developing myself in my own ways, right? But then that got me thinking, like, damn, even my friend groups have influence in a way, in a small way. You know, the shows I'm watching, everything has their own influences over you. And oftentimes when people start questioning all of those, it brings, like, identity crises into their lives, you know?
especially when you're mixed.
Yeah.
That's just a whole other
So
complicated
true.
layer. Yeah, exactly.
So true.
So it's good to find your truth. What do you decide?
Yeah.
And then accept it.
And realize that you have the power to decide that.
Yeah.
Like you can do it if you want to. And then you also need to have the humbleness of realizing that it's not the whole truth,
Yeah.
but it's a fantastic start to finding out what the whole truth is, right?
Because once you accept that, then you have so much more control over your personal identity. When you
And how
accept
you
that.
react to things as well.
Yeah.
Like how when circumstances hit you, you now have like a stronger foundation of just even who you are.
What kind
you
of person
believe
do I
in.
want to be in this situation?
Right.
Do I want to be helpful, or do I want to be an asshole to this person
Right.
who's maybe being an asshole back, you know?
Yeah, well, hey, I mean, listen, there are some times in life where I prefer to being an asshole than being nice because I don't know if it's the quote-unquote right thing. Who knows? You define that for yourself. That's also part of knowing shit. But there are times where I'm glad I wasn't nice because I'm glad, like I wanted the situation to either, you know, disappear or go away or something like that, right? But I feel that, man.
We're always nice to the strangers who happen upon us.
We're always
And,
say that again.
We're always nice to the strangers who happen upon us in our dwellings around Boston.
Oh, God, like the
yeah,
crazies,
just
yeah.
the crazies, I guess, in another word.
Yeah, yeah. Is that
Yeah.
allowed in my life?
The
crazies. The eccentrics, is that better?
Yeah,
The eccentrics.
characters.
Because there'd be
we
a
run
lot of
into.
different types. There's the druggy eccentrics. There's the just homeless eccentrics. There's the just weirdos.
Yeah,
like just
we're
people.
not sure what's wrong.
We're not
yeah.
sure what they're doing. There's the shirtless guys in the alley that come and just scream and bang on the concrete while we film. I
druggy
think that was
crazy.
probably
Yeah,
druggy.
that's drug crazy.
Probably like
yeah.
heroin. Probably like, dude, there's a
That's
spot in
like
the
scary.
concrete.
Do you
think that's
heroin
like-
corner.
Who do they think they are
In
during
that moment?
You know, yeah, like when
Like
they're
King Kong.
deep into addiction, do you think they know that they are, or
Probably.
do some of them just accept it and just feed straight into
Probably
it?
because people who smoke cigarettes or have a dependency on other type of drugs, they know they're addicted.
But those are different than
We should
What do
have
you
a
mean?
cigarette
I'm talking
smoking
like
person
heroin.
on
Yeah, we should.
there and talk about addiction.
Let's have Matt back. Yeah, because I think he stopped, or I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
He
Wait,
doesn't
wait,
talk
say
anymore.
I was talking like stronger drugs, like heroin.
Like heroin. Do you think? Oh, so you think they're like in this such otherworldly trance? They're not even sure like of themselves anymore. Probably because that shit makes you do crazy things to get, or like crackheads. Like they break into people's homes and then to sell things, like their own family members, right? So it's like it makes you do crazy things for it. So yeah, you probably do lose a sense of self, and that maybe is what the dependency becomes part of. Is part of like who you are is attached to this thing, because you maybe only feel some sense of familiarity when you're actually high now, because you probably started to use it as an escape. and then it became your dwelling, right? So it's like, I don't want to escape from that. I want to go back. Which actually, look at this, Segway Kings. It flips back to what we're talking about, the Jimi Hendrix article, because there was a part of it where I watched the video. I didn't read the article. That was part of it. But it said that, do you know what it's called, just in case so we can tell people like what we're talking
The
about?
article?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'll pull it up.
Yeah,
You can
find out, keep
talking
going.
about it.
But it was talking about towards the end how once he started incorporating psychedelic drugs into his music and into and like longer riffs, longer songs, really experimenting and doing crazy shit, as well as the sci-fi stuff, it started to become an escape not only for him, but he wanted it to escape for people as well, because that was also a time where a bunch of shit was going on, wars overseas, civil strife and shit,
Especially,
turmoil
yeah, for
in
black
America.
people
Yeah, I
in
think
America,
MLK
yeah.
had just been assassinated around the time when he started doing the drug switch. So it's like there was a lot of shit going on, and so he's like, part of that is the escape part, and I definitely am with that. And we've spoken about it before, even on this podcast, about like how film is an escape, how music is an escape, and how it's, as we mentioned earlier, like a conduit for a message or for truths that sometimes are not as easy to communicate. But at what point is the escape too much with art?
Ooh, okay, that's an interesting topic. So first, let me just say the article we're talking about is How Science Fiction Formed Jimi Hendrix on openculture.com. So read up, people. That's interesting. Oh yeah, that's cool. That's interesting that you talk about, because I think recently I've been indulging more in 70s cinema and the characters, the bombastic and eccentric characters of like directors like Orson Welles and like Dennis Hopper, for one, who, you know, at one point he was seen in 1969 when he released Easy Rider. He was like, when producers like in Hollywood didn't know how to get people to the cinemas, Dennis Hopper made Easy Rider, and that brought like that. He made the movie. I think we've spoken about it. It was like he made it for $500,000 and it made $70 million in theaters or something like that. And so he was like, within 2 years, he was seen as like this, like, you know, like whiz kid child of like who's the leader of the next like rebellious generation of, you know, people. And then he makes his next movie and it's too far out, and it's just like, and nobody. It just completely fell apart because a lot of drugs, and like he's quoted saying that he believed he needed drugs in order to influence the art. And after, when he got older and he learned and like became more mature, he realized, you know, he said people like Robert De Niro and Al Pacino who are able to act without doing drugs. And he was like, you know, I have the same I have that method acting training or whatever kind of training. I don't need the drugs in order to bring out these characters or do a good job. And then he went on and made like 4 films in like a year or something. One of them was Blue Velvet with David Lynch in like a very short sequence. But he was like outcasted. He made a movie in 1971, and then for like the last movie. Yeah, funny enough.
I'm sure it's a cult classic too, right? Like,
not really. It's like really like hard to understand. You can't find it anywhere. I've seen it like twice, but it's like it's really hard to find. And it's, as much as I really, really like him for how much he believes in and how passionate he is about cinema and how free he is when he makes things.
Mm-hmm.
And that was part of the reason why I had the revelation when we were filming the fight scene of wanting to get the camera off the tripod and actually try to, you know, because he said the quote that I had mentioned, which was, if you're not creating in the moment, then you're not creating.
Right.
You know?
Oof.
Yeah. And so you can't just come in with, and a lot of times I had also heard another quote where it's like, you have to be ready when you come into whatever production it is to walk in with your, you know, your nicely planned whatever, your little plan book, and just rip it up as soon as you walk in.
Shit.
You know, you have to be ready and okay to do that.
I'm gonna start doing that with the podcast.
I don't think I'm ready yet.
Just gonna start
I have a
ripping up
hard
the
time
topic.
doing that.
yeah.
The thing you said about you go first, because I was gonna. Loop it back
There's
to
actually a
something else.
director. I can't think of his name or who it was, but someone mentioned that. Or it was Audrey. She said that she was on one of my shoots. She saw how chaotic it was, and she was like, "There's this director that just writes the storyboard while he's there. Like when he shows up on set,
Oh
he
my
does it.
God.
He does it all right there, and it's just pushing yourself to do it in a like in the moment.
That's kind of what we were gonna do for SMS at
Yeah.
DAP. Like, I was so many abbreviations. Huh?
Yeah.
But that's, I mean, and I don't know if that would have worked. I think maybe we need to do it a little more in advance, but like that's what we were planning to do, kind of, because it's not like we had written one beforehand, and it's not like we had every shot planned out. We kind of just had scene by scene, or like major points to hit that would lead the scene, and that you would kind of follow and craft out. So
I think
don't
it is
know.
important to structure it a little more for your.
I do too.
Yeah,
Especially
for
because we have
places.
no experience.
Also, I mean, you're renting the space, so don't waste your money.
That's true.
I wouldn't do that.
That's
if
a
I
good
didn't
point.
You
it
have
at
to
the
be
time.
effective.
That's a good point. We're not
you
just
really
out in
do.
the streets just doing whatever. It's not our
Yeah,
set.
it's totally different. And when it's
yeah.
just us, it's different.
In
Yeah,
fact,
we don't
on
care.
a time frame, it should be super short.
Yeah.
It should be like
Bro, film
10 minutes on
production,
this.
man, producing a
you're
film
thinking about
is
something
way
all
different
the
than
time.
music. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
And I realized even
This is
with
crazy.
Max and Lorelai and how we were supposed to film in April and we really didn't start till July with everything going on, I thought I was ready in April, and there are so many things that I like thought about that that made me realize I was not ready until July, and I probably still wouldn't be ready if I had more time to think about it till a few months later.
So for my writing class, I have to read articles based in my discipline, and I chose my discipline to be filmmaking. And the thing is, he wanted me to write a research paper almost on like these articles about filmmaking itself, and like that I've read in the past that made me learn more about it. But everything I've learned about filmmaking has been in the moment, just making
Doing
the
it,
shit.
like actually doing
or
it, yeah.
like watching a movie.
Yeah.
There's not. I haven't read any articles, and if there are, then it's either about films in the context of how they were made.
Someone, yeah.
So it's like, what does this guy expect from me? You know?
Yeah, that's why like I don't think we can. I've been suggested by a writing professor as well to write something about film and like what
Like
it's
critique?
like or just some, I don't know,
Like
like
analysis?
it was advocacy writing, so write something advocating for filmmaking, and I was like, what like nobody advocates for filmmaking. It's like it's a very like it's a honestly filmmaking is a very privileged art.
Although it's
a
becoming
very,
more democratized.
As in, like, privileged people are the ones who have the most access
well,
to like tennis,
it takes a lot of money.
Yeah.
It takes a decent amount of money
Time
to make
investment.
it time and
to learn how to use all this equipment.
yeah. Well, even just like especially even like also on the Hollywood level too. I mean, even to the point that they make food, the StarCraft carts or whatever make food for the day, and then they throw it out. Whatever is left, they throw it out. And there are so many homeless people wherever they're shooting. I can guarantee it.
If it's in LA, dude, Skid Row.
That's what I'm saying. So it's crazy that's the rule. They're not supposed to give it to people.
That's like the fashion companies that burn all their shit at the end of the season, so it can't be resold, so it keeps its value. That's nasty.
I've been thinking this for a while. I don't think movies should be raking in trillions of dollars. I don't think they should even have a budget of $1 trillion. I feel like at that point, it kind of goes into what Scorsese was saying about Marvel films being just like amusement parks, you know, where they're throwing in all of this money to do special effects and feed like exactly what consumers want, instead of pulling it back and then putting in your artistic expression, not money, not how much you could pay for the production.
Because I didn't like Endgame. I wasn't a fan when I went to go see
did
it.
like
Now,
Endgame.
in general, I'm cool with Marvel movies. Like I agree with what you're saying for like most movies. I think for like the blockbuster ones that are based off like superheroes and shit, maybe you could get some more leeway. But for example, like the Black Widow one that they're gonna do, I would want less money to go into that than Endgame, because that one's should be an intricate story and character. 'Cause she's an assassin. She's not the fucking Hulk. She's not Thor. She's not just destroying shit. She's supposed to be covert. She's supposed to find sneaky ways to get around things, and the storytelling and visuals should match that. So I would agree there.
I think like it only comes because there's a constant need for blockbuster films, you know? Like people want a new film to go see. But that was only during like the boom of the movie industry. That was like during the 1930s when the movie industry really, I learned this in my film analysis class, Nathan Blake, really boomed during the Great Depression era, when there was so much just existential angst, right? That people needed some sort of escape. And their outlet was filming, like films. They would go to the movie theaters and
Art in general. But
yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's when it really started picking up, because these movie studios were able to give these audiences a form of spectacle that they could just spend their time doing.
Or something they can relate to.
Something that, and then at the same time, something they can relate to. After that, it started turning progressively. I'd say like, I'm not a professor, of course, but I'd say like in the 70s and 80s is when it started becoming even more blockbustery. And then it was exponential from there. In 2000s, on is like super.
COVID might be changing that back.
That's what I think. So now over the past 10 years, the theater industry kind of has been dying, right? Because they're streaming now. So I think there doesn't need to be blockbuster movies every single week.
A Netflix film doesn't cost nearly as much as a
It
Marvel
should
film.
and it shouldn't.
Yeah,
Unless
you know?
it's The Irishman.
Unless it's the
Yeah,
unless you're Scorsese.
Yeah.
That's true.
Because then
that's
it
true.
gives more credit to the films that do manage to make it to the popular scene. You know,
Because it wasn't
then-
a money thing; it was
Exactly.
a skill, talent thing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
talent can drive
Quality.
it to popularity rather than income. You know, that's my thoughts on the
I think we
entire
have a
film
better
industry.
chance to make. We have a better opportunity to make movies now.
I think independent filmmakers can come up out of COVID, like just with theater kind of industry, like you said, dying and kind of being, what's the word, dismantled a little bit. It's like it's forming a whole new wave for now independents too, especially if studios start coming out with smaller theaters and stuff, and they want to show more than just their own shit. They're gonna want to, like, you could license out Max and Lorelei, right? For then they'll probably, you won't get paid obviously Scorsese numbers, but like, right? But it's like it could be a quality check for an independent filmmaker and more exposure and shit.
That
so.
kind of scares me though, because if Marvel ends up, if Disney makes their own studios.
Oh yeah, everybody's fucked. Then it goes back to money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's the scary part of that. But if it does end up being these smaller studios able to distribute their own stuff and they find like interesting ways to do it, like maybe they have like a backyard theater.
Or
some
even
stuff
small
like that.
theaters too, like independently owned as well. Like that didn't really have the blockbusters anyway, and also wouldn't have that many people in them anyway. So if people are afraid of COVID coming back, it's like they could have smaller shows and they could have things like independent films there because it wouldn't cost them too much to license them out to show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe. So who knows? I don't know.
Could happen, bro. Somerville Theater, hit us up, Like, we're also the small ones in town. There was something you said. We're kind of looping back a bit, but about what was the guy's name that said the thing about the drugs, about not needing
Dennis
them?
Hopper.
Dennis Hopper. And it's just interesting. That goes back to, James, what you said about what makes us different and like what makes us unique from each other and shit. And just kind of people's reactions to that. Because you read about Jimi Hendrix, when he started doing the psychedelics and the drugs, he thinks his music like exploded and expanded to new depths, new heights. Dennis Hopper thinks his didn't, right? Like his creativity
Well,
didn't.
he did in the moment,
Oh,
and then I
okay.
think
And then upon
after, as he
reflection.
got older, he realized it didn't.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well, then I do wonder, like, for one,
Though
what
he
makes
doesn't
people...
regret the
Yeah.
last movie. I will
That's
say
good.
that he's still now. To
I
this
wouldn't
day, or
either.
he's dead. Unfortunately.
If I was him, I would not either. You
Yeah.
know?
That's
you tried
good.
something.
Yeah.
you
Exactly.
appreciate
You
that.
try to in the moment. That's what that's what we're doing now with all this
I
shit.
bet like something like that came out today would be a little more accepted.
It would. Yeah. It was very like it was. You know what's interesting? What he said when he was editing it, he comes from, actually, he's actually well known, like, for his photography, like won awards and filmed, like, I think maybe some in like Vietnam or some wars related stuff. But he had said that when he was editing the film, he was trying to approach it in a way also like how a painter like Jackson Pollock, comes and splats paint, that's accepted, the splatting the paint. And then when he comes to approach a film and he's editing a particular sequence in the film, it's like his character kind of like has been shot and he's kind of running around and it's jump cutting and it's cutting in different shots of different things of nature or whatever, and like that's so much more jarring than it is like looking at a Jackson Pollock painting, but that's the same mindset he attempted it with. And one thing when he released the film, he did say that if like in an interview he said something about if this film if people don't see it, then the audience I thought was out there is not going to be here for a very long time.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was right.
Yeah, unfortunately he was
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Wow. So something about film that I find interesting is that it's such a creative thing and collaborative, but because of how collaborative it is, there's so much structure in I'll wait. Okay. So something about film is that I think film and music are considered as two like the most creative fields you can get into, right? But film has so much structure to it underneath what you see on screen. Like in each process, like pre-production, you got screenwriting that has 3 acts most of the time, and in those there's sentence structure. Even like when you get so in depth with the writing, and then filming itself has cinematography that follows certain rules, the rule of thirds, 180 rule. Then editing is probably ironically like the most freedom you have because you could place anything wherever you want. But
arguably the most important part of the film too.
But you're still restricted by technology and, in a sense, time, and how you structure it in terms of time. So I think audiences kind of accept more structured stuff, and there's less of a want for disorienting, jarring, more experimental
Yeah,
things.
because it's more familiar, and people like to be led for the most part. People like to be led, and a structure gives you something to follow, right? Like climax, or what is it? Like, what's the right? Yeah, what's the thing? It comes conflict, rising action, right? Climax, denouement, or whatever that shit's called, falling action, all that shit. Like people love that. That's why Hero's Journey has survived, and that's not to say that's a bad thing. Like it's a reason the structures persist because they're fucking good. They're good at delivering a story, but that's where we need room for creativity.
Yeah, and I think the democratization of filmmaking has made those crazier things become more accepted, and that's why I said I think it would be more accepted today if Dennis Hopper made that film, because we have things like TikTok that are just like 15 seconds, you know, like small form videos where you can't match the structures of film, and still video. It's still film. It's being created in different ways.
What's also important to consider is the access to this medium, because he was making a movie that you needed to see at least like 2 or 3 times, and you know, to get people to go to the cinema 2 or 3 times is to ask a lot in a way. Yeah, and especially the money you have to pay, no matter how much it is, it's still, you know, you have to really want to go see it to see it. And I know that for me the most, when I went to the theater the most was when Movie Pass was $10
Hell
a
yeah.
month.
When you could see a free movie
That's
every day.
that changed my fucking
What a
life.
good
That
time.
changed
Dude,
my
same.
life,
And I
dude.
never really went that much. I always liked it. But once I got that shit, when you could go to a free movie every day, I'm like, great. I just got out of class at 3, and I don't have another class. I'm headed to AMC.
Instead of taking a nap, you just go watch a film. Think in a
You can
different
nap
way.
there
'Cause it's free.
I mean, you can, and then you can even pop into another movie after.
Which
like,
definitely
yeah.
did.
Yeah.
You doubled
Oh,
at the
yeah.
movies. You got
Oh,
to.
yeah.
You got to, bro. Yeah, like that, James. The camera's off. You can't give
And
them the
maybe
sauce
honestly,
dance.
with the studios creating their own, maybe there'll be new rules on films. I mean, on theaters. You know, like maybe there'll be a theater that allows you to go to as many films as you want. You pay like $10 for the day or something. You know, and maybe there's
That'd
studios
be
that
cool.
are like
Day
you can
pass
smoke
at the
weed.
theater. Whoa, whoa.
Smoke weed in it.
Excuse me.
That's crazy.
If that
That's
becomes like an
ridiculous. They have
investable
a
thing,
dispensary side to a theater.
that's. I mean, but that's what I was just
And
about to say.
they show like
shit,
only
we gotta cut
experimental
that out
videos.
because that's a good idea.
Yeah, actually, yeah, let's keep that.
But if movie theaters become an investable thing, like where it becomes the same as opening up like a mom and pop shop, because the industry does break down enough that it's affordable, that's exactly the shit you could see. Because people will have thematic theaters, like the weed theater, or I mean, you can drink alcohol in theaters now, but just
Classical
whatever.
theaters.
Classical,
They could have genre-based
field's
theaters.
opened up. That's interesting,
be
man.
beautiful.
I mean,
That
that's
would
what
be
happened to
so
music. That's
beautiful.
what happened to rap, right? And
Yeah.
hip hop, like everything is allowed now. Like you can be as eccentric as you want. You can be as lo-fi as you want. Your
out
your
to
vocals
Young
can be
Thug.
distorted. Shout out to Young Thug. We were riding with James the other day, and he was blasting some XXX that
Oh, that's right.
was clipping like the entire song,
audio
like
clip, yeah.
distorted clipping. And it's
That's
like,
one of my favorite
Jesus.
songs too.
Oh my god.
Jesus, Jesus
That's so
Christ.
uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's telling, folks. What was it called again?
Floor 5-5.
What was he saying in the hook again? Like, boy, it's done or something?
No, it was
Boy,
boy
it
don't
is-
test. Boy don't test. Boy
Oh,
don't
because
test.
it was about a fight or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Oh god, that was really
Super
bad.
hyper violent.
Yeah.
Sounds
X
like a
is
middle
better
school
song.
like chant.
Angst. It's very angsty. Oh, super angsty. But it's kind of nice to feed into that sometimes.
Put it in max.
We were just rolling. We were cruising through the street. Like there were
Yeah.
innocent bystanders, and you were just screaming.
I
I
got
care.
some good footage.
I don't care. That makes me feel it
Did
more.
you see the car footage or any of that stuff?
Yes, the one for Rafters, like when me and Alex were in the back, that one was really good. That we got really good shit there.
What did you like? Oh, sorry, no, go ahead. I was just gonna say the hanging out of the car stuff too. How'd that?
Yeah, it looked cool. They'll probably use that for another. I'll probably use that for another song. But it looked really
Can
fucking
we use
good.
that for Bobby Ray?
No, it wouldn't fit. It's during the day. It wouldn't fit.
Oh, that's
yeah,
true,
it's totally
that's true.
different. But so last thing on this Jimi Hendrix point, it kind of goes back to the escape question I had, because we took it a different route than I was initially expecting, which was cool. But
Rabbit holes.
the escape route was the escape like tangent I was going on was more because he was making these. Jimi Hendrix specifically, these musics in response to, like I said, all the turmoil that was going on both overseas and domestically in America, and wanted the music to provide escape and indulgence, like in a different way for people to confront it. But at what point does the art or does the viewer like indulge too much in that now it's running away from the problem or ignoring it, right? And now it's almost romanticizing it through the art rather than addressing it as the serious conflict that it is. Do you know what I'm saying? That was the thought that came in my head after I heard that.
Yeah,
I was
I don't
like,
know.
is there a line where people escape too far? I think so.
Yeah,
like Twitter.
probably. Yeah.
Right? Like
Yeah.
people escape so
I mean,
far into Twitter.
escapism is what is so tied to connection. I mean, to addiction. That's like people
Okay.
do drugs to escape the realities of the world, right? For the most part.
Wow.
I mean, yeah, you get dopamine highs that take
Wow.
you
Do
into a
artists have
different
some
way.
moral responsibility then of when they, like, I don't know if Jimi Hendrix was necessarily addicted to psychedelics, but
They say he put LSD tabs in
Oh,
his
yeah, he
headband
did,
when
yeah.
when he played live, so it sweat.
so it went right into his. That's pretty. That's pretty
a smart
sick.
idea.
That's
That's
what I mean.
kinda
He's
dope.
like earthy, dude.
That's
He's like
kinda
figuring
dope.
out ways that people just weren't thinking. Yeah.
That's kind of dope. But it's like, does that, and then putting the music under that lens, right? Like that. I don't want to say romanticize again, but it does. Like the illusion of doing the drug and finding escape through those drugs to the audience. Is there any responsibility in the artist to that? You know.
Responsibility for
And what-
letting
yeah.
people seeing that, like
Because
as an image.
Because then it's like if they like you want people to take in your music, right? And I don't know. I mean a lot of people do want it to mean something to them, mean something into their lives. So if that then becomes something that they now use it for escape to a quote unquote, I don't know, irresponsible extent, which might be what we said, like escaping where you now are ignoring the problems. Is any of that on the artist? Do you think?
No. Like like letting their music or their films.
like
What they
Future and
portray, what they promote.
Wayne and Lean.
Yeah,
and
I guess.
like,
Oh, there you go. Actually, yeah, that'd be the contemporary comparison. They always talk
I
about the ones
see.
that talk about popping pills, doing lean, all that shit. It's
Depends how they're like inputting their own
How they're
opinions
using
on
it.
it. Like if they're highlighting.
well, they're usually bigging it up.
Right.
Yeah, well, if in Future's case, he is being. Like,
Yeah.
being
Well,
a
yeah, but I now,
dick to
yeah,
girls.
and I guess the difference would be in thinking of Hendrix's case. When he was doing it, he wasn't saying, "I'm taking LSD and this is awesome. You should do it." It's like he was making songs that were from the perspective of an alien, commenting on the conditions of Earth or of someone who had left Earth and came back. And the psychedelic sense was him blending that with like his science fiction interests and then kind of positioning it as a story rather than just saying, "I am on LSD" or "this character's on LSD and that's why this is happening." It was kind of just like, this is happening. And I guess that'd be the difference from someone like, Lil Pump or Future. It's just saying, sip, lean, drink it.
It influenced his thinking, and that influenced his art. But it never.
That wasn't
It was
the focal
never.
point.
It wasn't It never made the surface of his art.
Yes, the art was the focal point. That just kind of added into it or like touched it up in certain places.
Can you fault artists that are only speaking on their circumstances, like the ones that talk about gun violence and stuff? That's
50
just
Cent.
their
That was
their
gangster rap.
existence.
I mean, yeah, that's the classic argument against gangster rap. Yeah, is there any responsibility on those rappers for reinforcing or promoting these ideals?
Well, what would they rap about, to be honest, though? Like, what would they actually rap
Pull up
about?
on it, pop
You
them
know,
in the
getting,
club,
like,
right?
moving up in the world, and maybe.
I mean, there is that, but then there's a lot of straight pull up on you and shoot you as well. So there's a lot of that.
Where it is glorifying violence in a way, but
Yeah,
You
but then
have-
it's like
you have
so does everything. So does mob movies. So
Oh
does
yeah.
so it's like we
I
have
mean,
to question.
Maximum
Yeah,
that.
Reliance
exactly.
glorifies smoking for Christ's sake.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
So
and
if-
violence.
Yeah, yeah.
What
I
would
was
it be
trying to
like
say
if
something
you-
different, but yeah, but yes.
All of it. It's got all your debauchery.
Jesus, we got a shooter coming through. They just bust.
Yeah.
It's like pinball. That'd actually be really bad.
No.
Yeah, that would not be
I
good
like
at
that.
all. Yeah.
I mean, damn it, I fucking forgot what I was gonna say. God dang it.
Is it break time?
That's why
No.
I don't think it's on the artist, because there's influences everywhere, and if an artist is talking about something, it's your choice to decide if you're like, yeah, you know what?
I agree.
Fuck it, I'm gonna go shoot.
I agree with you. I think I think every artist is entitled to express what they want, and it's on us to decide if we're going to put up with it, and then also accept it.
Because other people will do the job of talking about whether it's right or wrong for you. You know,
True.
You put out your truth, and then
You do you.
you'll have some people on Fox being like, "Yo, he's talking about killing cops."
Also, even LeBron just said also too that shout out to his critics, because they'll come up with the next goal for him to tackle, basically.
Let's go. That's the motivation part of it. Okay, so there is all of that. All right, we got to pause. I'm going to pee
Yeah,
my pants.
pause.
Wake up, can't breathe. There's fire on me. Okay, I see. Now they wanna rock with me. Okay, I see. Okay, I see.
Skip to my loop, fucking on you. I do not lose. No, I don't cap. I just tell the truth. What you won't do? Got a little bit of weed and the wine too. Lift to the moon. Next thing you know, we turn night to noon.
Woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Run it back a few times in my head. The feelings I do hide coming instead. Put it to a few rhyme with my pen. Okay. Pressure on my chest from the walls closed in. Pressure to be the best. Wanted it all for my kin. Put me under the test and I get to check in, man. Skip the stress, leave when I check it. Hey, bye. My family be proud of me. Yeah, I don't give a fuck if you doubting me. None. I'm looking out from my balcony. Perched on the edge of the galaxy. Said last night I had a dream. Martin Luther told me you the king. Got the key, now all you need is get out of bed, brother.
Okay, we back. Yes, we did jump cut in. We're just gonna address it right now. Everybody's wearing different outfits. It's colder. That's it. That's what we're about to go back into. What'd you say about Bleacher Report? Was it pod topic or no?
You're gonna have to cut it in there because I just drained it.
That's okay.
Give me a second because it's,
Dude,
dude, it's a
yeah.
bubbly, man.
Oh my God.
Okay.
All right. No, so I just saw something on Bleacher Report talking about should the Rockets trade James Harden.
Oh,
Oh,
shit.
wow. I
Be
bet
interesting.
Russ would feel like shit if he just transferred to that team.
Oh
and they
yeah,
switch out
that's
the-
true.
And then the same thing happened to him that just happened to him
Oh
in the
my
Thunder. The
God.
star goes away and he has
I
to
would
carry
root
it.
for the Rockets after that if Westbrook was still there.
Was there any, like, where would he go? Like, did they give any
I don't
suggestions?
know. No, I just only saw the
Should they get rid of
banner.
him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't see what the article or anything.
Interesting. You know, the Mavs said they were willing to take on like a big salary for the next year.
Whoa.
So they're looking
That's
for a star.
disgusting. James
I don't-
Harden, Chris Stabs, and
I
fucking.
would not like that.
Luka.
Yeah, I was gonna say
That'd
I
be
don't
so
think that's
bad.
a good.
I
I don't
would
think
mix.
it's gonna
not like
happen.
that.
I don't think James Harden's ever gonna win a championship.
I don't
At
think
least
so
not in
either
his
because
prime.
he's.
Not in his prime.
Is this his prime?
Yeah.
This is his prime.
Yeah.
So-
Maybe like as it starts to fade, he'll start to actually take like a back role and go more into a
Yeah.
6-man role where he
Can you
started.
imagine, yeah, like
he'll never
Rondo,
win as the lead guy.
You know,
Yeah,
something like
exactly.
that. He'll become as important as like Rondo was
Exactly.
as a 6-man.
Yeah, I bet this was one of his last years to shine as like a leader on the team.
Yeah, because now it's been proven that he can't do it.
Yep.
You've had the
Several
time,
times.
you've had the teammates, you've had like everything that they've said you needed, whether it's another point guard who can handle the ball and like floor general, Chris Paul, another one who could score, Russell Westbrook, right? Or like they've had bigs, they've had
Clint
small
Capella.
forwards. Clint
Shout out
Capella
to
was
him.
dope. Fucking what's the Tucker? What's his name?
PJ
PJ Tucker, like
PJ
great
Tucker.
power forward, spots up in the corner and will play tough ass defense and rebound.
Yeah.
He's had every chance and good coach, Mike D'Antoni,
Mm-hmm.
like that fits his style.
Yeah.
So he just
Yeah.
it's proven now that you're not going to win if James Harden's your best player on the team, or if he's number one option at least.
And now there's younger players that are really showing out. I mean, this year
Like who?
alone, there was Tyler.
I have no idea.
Tyler Hero.
Oh, I thought you meant
Luka.
on.
No,
the
not on the
Rockets.
Rockets.
Oh.
I'm talking new players in general carrying their teams to the playoffs, which means they're going to get better in the next few years.
Right, Luca. Yeah.
And so,
What is it? It's Ja Morant or Jay
Ja
Morant?
Morant.
Dude,
Ja
he's nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Murray.
the hell?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yo, my God, and Jokic, both
And
of them,
Jokic,
both
yeah.
of them.
So
Dude,
they're
league's
the
about to be
new
exciting.
generation is already there. So
League's about to
Harden's
be
part
exciting.
of the old generation now.
Yeah, wow. I mean, he's basically of the same class. I mean, a little later than LeBron, but just a few years after him, Westbrook, and maybe KD. That's their
And I
class.
think Westbrook's in
LeBron's
the
a
same
little
field
older.
as him too.
Westbrook's done, bro.
Yeah, he's
Westbrook's
done.
done. We argued it with Kazi about it in Delaware, but Westbrook's done. Westbrook's done. He's not. He might never win a championship, which is sad.
It sucks.
Did Oscar Robertson win a championship?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
We can look that up. I want to know. I want to see if going for the stats is really what it's written up to be at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? Because Oscar Robertson was the other
Yeah.
triple double guy.
Yeah, Mr. Triple Double.
Yeah. Does it say if he has chips? Oscar Robertson, nicknamed the Big O. I don't see chips. Oh, just kidding. 1970-71 NBA champ. Sorry, old head. Sorry, everybody that's yelling at us. My bad. But okay, so there we go. So maybe Russ has got a chance. The last thing, I don't know about last thing, maybe, but I wanted to ask you guys about, and something we've kind of touched on, like very tangentially on here, and I don't remember the context of when I first thought about this, but does perfection exist anywhere, ever, in this world? Whether that's creative,
Depends on your definition of perfection, bro.
without
think-
flaw.
I think I could make something that's perfect to me. I can make something that I think is the best that I could have did, like something I created that I think is like, wow, this is something that I'm proud of and it's perfect to me in all of its flaws. It may not be
I don't
perfect in terms of what other
That's
people
cute
think
though.
of. It's cute. It's cute. I believe that.
I'm just
I
playing.
believe
No,
that.
I do.
know. This
I'm
has been
just
your
playing
after school
with you.
special for
I'm
the
playing.
day. Yeah,
No,
But
for real.
no,
It's-
no,
But is
understand.
perfection objective?
that's what I was
Because
gonna. Sorry,
The
that was
speaker has
speaker,
a question
That was
or an opinion.
that was weird. Anyway,
But I think that would be the next question.
I guess that was going to be my follow up because James did kind of give the cop out answer, but it's like it's true. It's true though. No, I understand what you mean, but I don't even think you in that moment would say it's perfect.
No, of course.
Like to yourself, I think you would say you love it and you cherish it, but I don't think like if you love it for its flaws, I think that's saying right there it's not perfect.
Okay, so then no, technically,
You don't
no
think it
perfection
exists?
whatsoever. But that means you have to find things that you accept their flaws for and say.
I think it might
perfect as of
exist.
now, you know?
I think it might exist in like moments, like very fleeting moments, but not over time. Like I think it might be a very, very short-lived thing that capitalizing then makes everything else better. Like we've said it. I don't remember which one of you two said it, but you said that like the first thought you have, creative thought, whatever, is perfect because that's what it's meant to be. Kind of like that's what the thought is when it's first just thought of, and then that goes away really quickly because it's pretty much immediately influenced the first time you have the thought. But like in that whatever second infinitesimal small moment that it first comes into being, it's like perfect. So like does that? What do you mean? I don't know who said it. I don't remember which one of you said that. I think it might have been you, Emilio.
Yeah, it might have
Probably
been.
was you because I don't believe that.
Yeah, it's funny because I wonder how true that is.
Yeah, the wind
fucking
is too
cold,
intense.
dude.
Getting cold, bro.
I'm getting chilly,
and you got the
bro.
warmest thing, or at least a
Getting
windbreaker. I don't know if it's that warm.
It's not that warm.
It's the rip in his jeans.
Oh
It
yeah,
is that too,
You
no
do them
lie.
yourself, or you bought them like that?
Huh?
You
No,
do them yourself.
no,
You
I
bought
bought
them.
No,
You
you'd
bought
save
them like
money.
that?
You'd save money that way, to be honest.
You paid more to buy less
people
fabric.
pay
These hoes are
more.
cheap, bro.
Huh?
My pants are cheap.
Okay.
Always.
They better, bro. If those were more than $10, they stole your money.
They're definitely more than 10
They
bucks.
stole your money.
I get my stuff all at Goodwill.
Nice.
So it
dude.
should
So
not
maybe
be $10.
Maybe someone else ripped them. Yeah.
That's fine.
Anyways.
All I'm saying is you should not be paying more for less fabric. That's all I'm
It's a
saying.
stylistic choice.
That's fine.
I'm not gonna take
Aren't
my
they
fashion
all?
advice from you,
Aren't they
Tyler.
all? That's
Oh,
fine.
boy. Here
Yeah,
we
no,
go.
that's
Here we
that's
go.
fair. That's very fair.
Mr. Mark
It's very
Melon.
fair. Mark Melon. Slim.
It's a shirt. Yeah, it's a shirt, everybody.
Not a shirt. It's a crew
Oh,
neck.
it's a crew neck.
Oh, okay.
It's
A
very
yellow
nice.
crew neck.
Yeah.
with
Oh,
a
you thought he was
funky
just
font.
saying that to me? Like you thought he was just saying Mark
Calling you
Melon
Slim
to me?
No.
What?
What?
Never mind.
I don't know
Anyways,
what's
yeah,
going
we're
on.
lost.
Okay.
We're
Yeah.
anyways.
Perfection. I've
Yeah,
had
shout
a
out to the
perfect
Slim
joint
Thick.
before.
Anyways, you had asked me. You were saying
I
something
want to hear
about.
about that. But yeah, go. No, because that's a moment of perfection. But you go
Oh,
first.
okay, okay.
You go first. We'll go back to that.
You had. I don't know what the semi quote was, but that you were talking about.
Now or before?
Just that we were basically talking about that you had
Oh.
asked the question about. I think if anything, when I think about that quote, which was like the idea feels the most perfect when it's in that infancy stage, when you first think of it, that sense of perfection is naive. Yeah, if anything, if anything, because I actually do feel like it's not perfect then. Yeah, I think the more you think pure.
Right. So what were you just saying? You had a perfect. If you want to share that, I mean, yeah. Yo, what's up, y'all? It's Tyler. So we had an issue with James's mic, and we lost his audio for the rest of this segment. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to end the episode here. Well, we'll play one more song, and then we have our little outro and sign off. Sorry about that. We'll try and make sure it doesn't happen next time. James. Just clearing, Still no fucks to give, man, this shit funny. Gon' tuck the bib, see you know still running. Running up the biz, come and get your money. Done fucking with you, don't do nothing for me. Gin rummy, got the cars laid out. Been bummy, now the stars played out. Stone cold thunder bouncing off with a bunny. Fucking on like some rabbit, she giving taste something from me. Feels like summer, always hot in the booth. And the boy no bummer, come and rock with the truth. Oh, Babe Ruth, I be swinging through the roof. Keep it blazing with the booth. Had the blazing hit a goof. And Joker laugh, Laffy tap, Daffy ducking. Leave you sputtering and gasping. Keep it everlasting. I'm never ducking, always fronting something. At the front end, I don't see second. I'm way ahead and I never turn my head. I got the blinders on and you got your finders on. See the time is on and my time is now. I look around and I end up looking down when I look for competition. I be on the mission and my premonition is they'll never see the vision. Damn.
Page burns, cookie crumble. Out the way, you were trouble. Find a way out my bubble. Yeah, hide away, get a hot door. Bring home the bacon.
All right, fellas. I think that wraps up
Perfection.
this episode. I think we logged a pretty damn good one today. Is there anything you want to leave the people with before we sign off?
It's interesting. I think sirens have been going on from like the beginning of this podcast.
Oh, really?
And Zena has also come down from her
We're in an undisclosed
slumber.
location. Yes.
Yes.
With sirens.
Where sirens are ever present.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Anything
that's
changes.
Emilio's last words.
Yeah.
James.
Inform yourself on politics right now.
Nice.
There you go. Yeah, y'all. Thanks for joining this episode. Thanks, YouTube. Thanks, wherever else y'all are listening. Apple Podcast, Spotify. Follow us on Instagram at Rabbit Hole Sessions. On YouTube, Rabbit Hole Sessions. Check out our YouTubes, Emilio Guido, Tyler On Demand, TylerOnDemand.com. James's YouTube is coming. And more stuff coming from us.
I got a website coming too. So
That's
stay
right.
tuned.
He does. Peace out, y'all.
Prosperity.